So today we'll be taking a look at several topics including Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, and the latest on the never-ending Charlotte Flair drama from Smackdown. We'll get into everything going on there. Let's start things off with the latest on the Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch drama from Smackdown. This past weekend has been absolutely filled with countless reports about the entire Charlotte Flair Smackdown incident. On Saturday morning, it was reported that Charlotte and Becky got into a loud exchange of words for what happened during the Smackdown main event. That's all that was reported at the time, but as the weekend went on, more and more reports started to come out. The latest report update with the story is that the WWE locker room allegedly is strongly behind Becky Lynch and sees her as the hero for finally stepping up to Charlotte and putting her in her place. It seems like a lot of people haven't been a fan of how Charlotte has been moving and acting lately, but no one has been brave enough to step up to her this entire time. So when all this unfolded backstage, everyone seemed to take Becky's side because they've been waiting a long time for someone to say something to Charlotte and make a move like this. That seems to be the reoccurring theme here in all these reports. Everyone viewed Becky as the hero and Charlotte as the out-of-line villain here in this backstage situation. Another report claims that Charlotte didn't leave the building under her own control. They claim security was sent to escort Charlotte Flair out of the building. However, Becky Lynch was not escorted out at all. So now knowing all these extra details, it probably better explains Andrade's recent angry tweets about WWE. He probably didn't enjoy how Charlotte was kicked out of the building, but nothing was done to Becky. A lot of fans out there are speculating and discussing about what happens next after what seemed to be a very ugly situation. Does Charlotte Flair get fined? Is there a suspension involved? Will we see anything like that? Maybe there could be a quiet fine for the entire situation, but a suspension seems unlikely for either Charlotte or Becky. That's two women's champions. That's two of your biggest stars, and the women's division is revolving around them right now. So it doesn't seem like WWE will take them away right now. The only thing that we can really wonder is if Charlotte and Becky will meet each other in the ring in a few weeks for Survivor Series. Both women's champions will have to face each other in just a matter of weeks. So, do we see Becky and Charlotte in the ring with each other again at Survivor Series? Or will Sasha be able to win the Smackdown title and stop that match from happening? That's what we'll have to wait on, but that's the latest on the Charlotte Flair Smackdown situation. Speaking of backstage situations, that brings us to this Roman Reigns story. This story comes from 2017. Enzo allegedly brought some unwanted guests into the WWE locker room that year. These uninvited guests took several photos and videos of the superstars, and it just felt very invasive for the superstars to have their private locker room violated in this fashion. It really broke the unwritten rule of the locker room. Enzo would have to pay for his actions by getting kicked out of the locker room in the weeks that followed. Enzo was kicked out of the locker room and just forced to change elsewhere. A former WWE referee recently explained the details of the story while appearing on Stories with Briscoe and Bradshaw. He had this to say: "I remember recently it happened to Enzo. Roman Reigns did that, not John Cena. Roman Reigns is old school. So many generations of wrestling there. He made Enzo dress out in the back because of some of the stupid stuff he was doing. I mean, when you disrespect the business, the boys in the locker room, or anything else, you're gonna get heat, that's for sure." End quote. So there's a lot of unwritten rules and things that shouldn't be done in the locker room, and when you have passionate old guys like Roman Reigns in charge of the locker room, they're not going to let that sort of stuff fly at all. But in other Roman Reigns related news, Roman will have to find some new opponents to face with Brock Lesnar, now out on a storyline suspension. WWE had released a graphic, some of the top contenders for the Universal title. Their graphic shows Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, Cesaro, and Sheamus as the top 4 contenders for the new title. So 3 out of 4 of those names are all new superstars that Roman hasn't worked with much during this title reign. Roman and Drew briefly worked together last year for a Survivor Series program, but it wasn't really a full storyline. So now, with Drew McIntyre being on SmackDown, they'll be able to have that full feud with each other, something that Drew has been waiting for a long time. Drew McIntyre and Roman have a lot of unfinished business from last year's Survivor Series story. Drew had Roman beat for a second there last year, but Jay saved the day and turned things around. Things obviously won't be any easier for Drew this time around, with Jimmy now being in the mix, but Drew is gonna want that match regardless. Then you also have Jeff Hardy as a possible contender. Jeff has been very vocal about how a match with Roman Reigns would be a dream match for him, and now that match is a possibility as well. Jeff Hardy has also been vocal about his desire to bring Willow to SmackDown as well. What better place to debut Willow than with a story with Roman Reigns? So that would be interesting as well. So these are the 2 huge potential stories for Roman Reigns, while we all wait for Brock Lesnar to return and finish their story sometime next year. Sasha Banks opened up some eyes this week when she was naming her dream opponents for WrestleMania 38. Sasha Banks had this to say when speaking with Bleacher Report. "I see myself main eventing WrestleMania either against Nicki Minaj, Charlotte Flair, or Bayley. Those are my top 3 picks. If I predicted that one last year, I feel like any of those are a WrestleMania caliber match." End quote. So 2 of those names are highly possible, Charlotte Flair and Bayley. But what is very unusual is Nicki Minaj. Although it's unusual, it's not exactly impossible. Look at what we saw with Bad Bunny, a musician with no real wrestling experience came in and had a great story and performed so well in the ring. So if WWE would seriously go after Nicki Minaj, it would technically be possible. WWE is starting to bring out a majority of their celebrity collaborations around WrestleMania time each year. So if a celebrity is going to make a WWE appearance, WrestleMania would be the time for it. Everyone knows that WWE has been going after Cardi B for the longest, but an obstacle always comes up there. So maybe they do hear Sasha's idea and start to consider Nicki Minaj for a WWE appearance in the future as well. Even though Nicki was the first name out of Sasha's mouth, she's still the least likely opponent, but Sasha may have a chance at Bayley or Charlotte next year, so we'll have to see. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.